Okay, as you can see here, we have some pumpkins we've cut open. It's a little bit smaller than normal. These are called sugar pumpkins. I finally decided what I'm going to do with the first two I've gotten this year. I'm going to make some pumpkin cookies. Not only for a great friend of mine in Florida, but I'm also making some for my wife this week for some of her team members at work. What I'm going to do is seed these, and then I'm going to cut off the stem, put them in the oven with oil on both sides. Probably cook them at 400 for about 30 to 35 minutes first. What we're going to be looking for is this skin here to peel off nicely. It'll start to separate. So I'm going to get these cleaned up. We'll get them on parchment paper. Then we'll get them on a rack and we'll get them in the oven. I'll show you some of the step-by-step of that. But for now, time to gut. And yes, I will be keeping the pumpkin seeds because I want to roast them. I can add them to some other meals. Roasted pumpkin seeds are delicious even on their own, which is some salt. Great crunchy snack. Okay, as you can see, I've already got the pumpkin guts and seeds out. I've already oiled one side of the pumpkin. Now we're going to do the other side. I just do it old school. Put it in my hands. I make sure I get everything rubbed around. Even go ahead and get the edges and some of the inside. When you're roasting, don't worry about the rest of the guts. They'll roast up nicely. We're going to put them in a mixer to puree them up anyways. I'm going to lay them face down like this. I misspoke a minute ago. What we're going to do with these is we're going to put them in a preheated oven at 375 degrees for 40 to 45 minutes. And we will make sure that the skin is fork tender when it's ready. Honestly, I've been doing it so long, you can kind of just look at it and see when it's separated. But until you get used to that, just fork tender the skin and you'll be able to tell when it's ready to peel out. Now, before you peel this pumpkin skin off the back, make sure you let it cool a little bit. I speak from experience. Sometimes I get in a hurry and I've torched myself before. Another pointer while we let the oven finish warming up here. I started with a spoon. Try keeping it clean and neat and tidy, but honestly, there's no replacement for just getting your hands in there and digging them out, getting those seeds and those extra guts out by hand. Just a pointer from me. Sometimes I prefer brute force over anything else. Okay, we've got our pumpkins out of the oven. As you can tell, you can see where that skin is kind of wrinkly and pulled apart. At this point, you don't even need a fork. You'll already know it's done. See how easy it is to pull off? Get that all off of there. We'll move that to the side here in a little bit once we get this cleaned off. What we're going to do after this is we're going to stick it in a mixer, blender, whatever you've got. You can do it by hand if you want to. Look how easy that comes off. It knows we are knowing that we are done. If I could learn how to talk, it'd be beautiful. But see how easy that peels? You don't need to do anything but this. And then what we'll do from here is, like I said, we'll throw it into the mixer, blender, and do it by hand if you would like to. And then we can add pumpkin pie spices, any kind of spice we want to it. I make my own homemade pumpkin spice. So I'm going to get these mixed up and liquefied a little bit. And we'll go from there. Okay, now what we're doing is we're mixing up our pumpkin, liquefying it a little bit. Now you'll see that I haven't put any liquid in there yet. Why this is because I want to use this pumpkin in different recipes. For now, it's going to go into some cookies, the first two at least. If I put my condensed cream or evaporated milk in there, it's gonna kind of make it ruin faster. This way I can save it a little bit longer. I'll add what I need later. Right now I just want to get the pumpkin in a little bit more of a liquid form so I can get it to what I need to use it for. Okay, as you can see, we have spread out our pumpkin puree. What I'm doing is getting a little bit of the water out so the pumpkin cookies aren't soggy. They'll be crisp and a little chewy. So I've got that done. I'm gonna mix some dry ingredients together and I'll video here in a minute. Okay, so I have doubled the batch. I've got 3 cups of flour, 2 teaspoons of baking soda, and I've got 4 teaspoons of my homemade pumpkin pie spice. So I'm going to mix the dry ingredients together. I'm going to get my mixer out here in a little bit, and then I'm going to go ahead and cream the butter because I'm using regular granulated sugar and brown sugar. And I will be using 2 sticks of butter, which equals about 1 cup. So I will cream those together, and after I get that all done, I will start mixing my dry and wet ingredients together. I'll be using grass-fed butter. I love this one, and I like to use the Kerrygold butter. It's a little bit more expensive, but when I make my baking, cooking dishes, whatever, I like to use the best ingredients. I don't like to go cheap on them. Okay, we've got our 2 cups of sugar, 2 cups of brown sugar, and 8 ounces of butter, equal to 2 cups. I've cubed it up. It is now up to room temperature, so I'm going to cream the 2 together. Okay, we've got our 2 egg yolks in there. No whites. You can see I've got the flour and sugar. The butter and sugar creamed together. I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of vanilla. I make my own homemade vanilla. I also do my own bean paste. I always try to create as many things from scratch as I can. That way I know the quality of each, and it just is something I enjoy doing. Okay, we've also got our full cup of pumpkin puree in there. I'm going to mix that together a little bit before we start adding in the dry ingredients. Make sure we get that combined nicely. We're going to add our dry ingredients in a little bit at a time. You don't want it to be quick with this. You want to do a little bit and then let it mix in completely. It avoids the mess and it helps mix it just that much better. Also, don't forget to scrape down your sides every little bit to make sure you get everything mixed in nicely as well. Okay, as you can see we scrape down the sides. We're just going to finish mixing everything together. Put a little bit on a high speed here. And then when we're done with that, we're going to stick it in the fridge for the rest of the night, and in the morning we're going to get up and we're going to get them ready to start baking. Good morning, everyone. We've got our pumpkin cookie dough out of the refrigerator, getting ready to put them in. I've got them balled up and some white chocolate chips on top. I'm going to stick them in the oven and can't wait to see them cooked up. Okay, we have our pumpkin cookies out of the oven with white chocolate chips. And over here, we have some going in with white chocolate chips and pecans on them.